Hey friends, we are live. It is the Sherdog Radio Network recap for UFC 324, Gaethje versus Pimblett. I'm Ben Duffy. He's Devin Tejada. We've got a ton to talk about tonight. Obviously, we have 11 fights to talk about of widely varying quality, and it was the debut of the Paramount era for the UFC. Whether that ends up being a year long or 10 years long, we'll find out, but plenty of newness there to talk about as well. You guys have been popping in the chat already. Please kind of have your questions, comments, hot takes ready to go. I've thrown a couple questions out already, namely, how did you score the main and co-main events? And just be putting together your thoughts about the Paramount show, such as it was. Well, we'll talk about that. Yeah, probably between the main and undercard. We'll pause for a minute and talk about production, but jumping right in, early candidate. Well, it is the fight of the year in the UFC so far. Justin Gaethje over Paddy Pimblett, and by golly, it's a Justin Gaethje fight, isn't it?
This is actually like also Justin Gaethje's lost fights really badly. But in a fight that he won, this is also clearly his worst performance. Like, Justin Gaethje beat the shit out of Paddy Pimblett while looking absolutely terrible. Like, Gaethje looked terrible tonight.
Okay, you know what? You're already jumping on a point that I wanted to make at some point this evening, so I'm just going to throw it out there right now. Win or lose, who at UFC 324 looked great? Who fought great tonight? Because I feel as though that's pretty much it. The rest of the really decisive fights seem to come down to one fighter fighting absolutely terrible.
This whole card was weird. And this card could have happened on, if you would have put this card on ESPN, like, it would have been just this, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, this card was just really weird. Paddy Pimblett definitely showed us that Scousers can't get knocked out. But what he also
despite their own best efforts, but yes,
he also showed us that, you know, like you said in the Sherdog Slack, Paddy Pimblett has, his boxing defense is atrocious. And I mean, Paddy Pimblett this is kind of exactly what I always thought Paddy was. A lot of people were hitting me up right before the fight, like, Yosh, who should I bet on? Let me drop some money on Paddy. And I'm like, here's the thing. Paddy's bad at fighting, but Justin Gaethje's old as hell. And Justin Gaethje is old like no. The only other fighter that is going to be like him is going to be like Yuri Prochazka. Like that. That's like just about it.
End stage Robbie Lawler was like that. Yeah.
Justin Gaethje, the way he just like kept pulling his head to the left-hand side, and Pat, like, if they were both talking a lot about Max Holloway going into the pre-fight, they had a major back and forth regarding Max Holloway, and like, boy, oh boy, if Max Holloway was in there with either one of these dudes tonight, and he's not the champ, like, he's fighting for the BMF title, he would have, like, dude, he would have plastered these two dudes.
Yeah.
Especially Paddy. But, like, his wrestling looked terrible. Justin was hitting crackdowns in slow motion.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, he made Gaethje's wrestling look pretty good. Here's the thing. Like, a lot of people suspected that this might be coming for Pimblett at some point. Just his porous boxing defense and his fight style that kind of puts that deficiency out on the front line. Like, yeah, he won his first 7 fights in the UFC, and I said on the preview, I'm like, I'm kind of done doubting him. At least for the foreseeable future, because yeah, he still has all these flaws, but nobody's really made him pay for them yet. And I don't think Justin Gaethje is going to be the one to do it. And I was wrong in that. Like, Gaethje did not fight his best fight. He looks like a compromised version of what he was even, say, 2.5 years ago. But he busted up Paddy bad.
he fucked him
Because here's the thing, like, and put in the chat, how did you score the fight tonight? I looked at MMA decisions, and scores are all over the place for the media, but nobody scored it for Paddy, which did kind of, I did find that reassuring. In the moment, I gave rounds 3 and 5 to Paddy, so I had it 48-47 Gaethje. If I rewatched it, I could see giving round 5 to Gaethje. So I think the score that most media people came down with was 49-46. And I'm not mad at that one at all. And you gave a 10-8 round 2 to Gaethje, correct?
Round 3, I believe, where he was like on top, like elbowing him like crazy. I don't remember which. Maybe it was
that. No, three is the one that the Pimblett won. 2 was the one where Gaethje had Pimblett turtled, like, and I thought it might be stopped,
like fucking him up real bad.
Yeah, like because Pimblett wasn't going anywhere. Yeah. Gaethje was just on top, just kind of punching under the armpit as he's turtled there.
And I thought Gaethje was starting to flag, but no, he just kind of clearly took off the 3rd round.
Yeah,
the one round that I scored for Paddy, and then he just like pushed forward. And this was like the James Vick sequence over and over again without the knockout, and Justin Gaethje just being more foot slow and like not being able to cut the cage off. But so many times on the retreat would Paddy like. Paddy Pimblett was falsely pushed through the UFC rankings. Like you saw him like every week that got closer to this fight, once it got announced, like Paddy would jump one more in the UFC rankings, jump one more in the rankings. But like all he did was beat Chandler and like a wash Tony Ferguson. But I mean, Paddy needs to stay away from dudes like Benoit Saint Denis and Rafael Fiziev and Hanato Moicano. Like I mean, Jalen Turner would probably crush Paddy Pimblett if they were to get booked into a fight next. He's so hittable. He's so hittable. Max Holloway would have looked like the Calvin Kattar fight if Max Holloway was in there. And I'm thinking about Max Holloway because they both Paddy, you know, Justin defended Holloway. Justin told Paddy in some pre-fight scrum that Holloway would make you look terrible too, and boy, oh boy, was he freaking right. That's why I keep bringing up Holloway, and I'm just thinking of a dude that will like lace up. Any combination striker is going to do real bad things to Paddy in his next fight, because now he's here. Like he just fought for an interim title. He can't avoid these next fights.
He can't. And for what it's worth, Pimblett had beaten everybody put in front of him up 100% to this point. Like I don't know what else they really could have done with him matchmaking wise. Like he needed at least an upgrade from people like, Bobby Green and Michael Chandler. So this might have been it. He was a greater than 2-1 favorite coming into this fight. Patty C throws something out there that probably ought to mention. It was super obvious at weigh-ins day when you saw the kind of cover, like the concealer Band-Aid on Justin, but he had a big old boil on his neck. He looked a little thick around the middle for this fight. I mean, staph infection, it's more than just a sore, dude. It makes you feel like shit. It makes cutting weight difficult. It makes doing the cardio so that you don't have as bad a weight cut.
And you're on amoxicillin, so your gut's all jacked up. You're taking all sorts of crap to whatever you're taking. I'm assuming amoxicillin at a minimum. And then also too, which is really funny, like you ever watch those like body cam footage videos where where like the person gets caught stealing and their immediate reaction is I'm not stealing, and then they fight back. Like, so it's like, yeah, you're obviously stealing. Like that's how Justin Gaethje was reacting to the media all week when he was asked about the staph infection. Like, oh yeah, totally. You definitely don't have it, bro. Like, just, what do you? I don't have staph infection. He told some dude, have you heard of HIPAA? Oh god. And the guy's like, what do you? I think it was some Brazilian maybe media outlet. And the guy's like,
okay, so one, he hasn't heard of HIPAA. Two, that doesn't apply to you answering questions about your own health information, Justin. I mean,
this was actually the perfect fight. Like this fight was awesome. It was so bad. Gaethje, like, Paddy didn't even try to wrestle. In the one moment he tried to wrestle, like, Gaethje's defending your takedowns, like, just the front headlocks from Gaethje and then getting the slow motion like crackdowns.
No, like him getting the same just kind of slow motion sprawl and snap down in like 3 different rounds, but then after that, where did the chain wrestling
snap?
Yeah, but where did the chain wrestling from Pimblett go? Because every time Gaethje hit that snap down, Pimblett just turtled and got punched under the armpit for like 30 seconds straight. Like there were times in at least 2 rounds where I was like, he's not going anywhere. This is going to end up being just one of those long, protracted things that ends in a TKO because he eats 43 punches in a row without moving. Yeah, I don't want to go too far down this path because I don't want to take too much away from Gaethje. Like for what it's worth, it is his night. He's got something for the mantelpiece that nobody can ever take away from him. But yeah, having said that, if you told me that Gaethje was going to win in more lopsided fashion than the scorecards would make it seem, and do it with really nothing but his jab, his cross, and an occasional overhand, like no kicks, no wrestling, I would have said you were crazy. So it's the kind of performance that really, I don't want to say exposes Pimblett because he was exposed already. Like people were doubting him left and right, but it kind of puts a ceiling on what he can do in this division until he kind of retools his game.
And I was listening to an interview today before the fight started today. It was sunny out here today. It was 33 degrees, but the sun was out, and I went down to the river. I grabbed my headphones and I went and did a little bit of fishing, and I was listening to a Paddy Pimblett interview, and he was talking about how he's been fighting since he was 15. So like he's been in the game for a long time. And when he said that, I was really shocked because I'm like, he's so technically bad for someone that's been doing this for so long. I think Paddy is too bad of a fighter and too far behind the rest of this division in comparison to where he's at ranked in this division, to where he needs to, unless he can go do what Peyton Talbot did, like after Peyton Talbot lost to Raoni Barcelos and all of a sudden just like became a lockdown grappler in 9 months. Like Paddy has so much catching up to do. Like he's so far behind the elite in this division.
And while he is a baby-faced guy with kind of a boyish affect, well, he was baby-faced on Friday. I don't know what he's going to look like on Tuesday. It hides the fact that he's 31 years old and he has
doing it for 16 years.
And he's going on 30 career fights. And even at the Cage Warriors level, he was taking a lot of punishment, even in victory.
I mean, this is also why Julian Erosa beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Like people that are not old and washed, like,
dude, shout out to that old gem. Like,
yeah, it's, and then the Exorcist vomit where he like threw up black tar, like that was crazy shit. Like, I'm surprised like someone didn't just like start squeegeeing it, like it was like, how do you clean that? Like a shop vac? Oh, it was oil. They're gonna refine it. This, I was really impressed by honestly Paddy's like just durability and determination. Like I'm clowning on him and I know I'm talking a lot of crap. But like I was really impressed by his determination. Like the same way I don't think Paddy is the elite of this division, I also think the elite of this division would not have been able to stand up to that punishment. So he at least has that going for him. Like the dude's freaking tough as hell.
He is.
He took a hell of an ass whooping. And
really, he got tired, but never really wilted or backed down. So completely agree there. He is a venomous grappler who fights like a brawler. And
I don't, from what I saw tonight, I don't even like, is he a venomous grappler?
He usually is,
like,
and
But that doesn't
he's
matter if you
usually
can't do any. You can't even like. They're not going to start like in a butt to butt.
No, they're not. So what to do next with these guys? It's pretty obvious for Gaethje, unless he is retiring at the post-fight presser right now. Presumably, he's going to have a unification bout with what I called on our yearly preview show a grouchy, hungry, chip on his shoulder Ilia Topuria sometime around June. And boy, howdy, that's probably not going to go real well. What do you do next with Paddy Pimblett?
I want to mention what I can't read his name because my font is very small. But how long have I been here now, Ben? I've been here a little while. Maybe not directly on your thing, but
but you've been at Sherdog for a year and a half now. It's show only 63 that is your backer here. Dev is the host of the Check the Kick podcast on Sherdog. He is going on his 100th episode, and he's been a regular substitute on both the Shillin and Duffy previews and recaps. So yeah, if you like Dev stuff, check the Kick.
I appreciate that. I think actually I want to ask you a question. Because Paramount is also promoting a behind the scenes encounter with Usman and Islam Makhachev. I shared that I don't know if you clicked the link, but it was a video of Habib kind of getting in between. They're all managed by Ali, and Usman and Habib are really cool, and he's kind of getting in between Islam and Kamaru. What is worse? Like, as far as just like a fight that makes you sad, Islam versus Usman or Topuria versus what we just saw tonight, Gaethje? I'm thinking the latter. Like, I think Usman stands a better chance against, and that's
Usman against Islam. Look how competitive Usman looked against Khamzat Chimaev.
Yeah,
who is like a 20 pounds bigger,
and he just beat up Buckley.
I favor Islam Makhachev heavily against Kamaru Usman if that's the fight we end up getting, but I'm not going to find it depressing to contemplate in advance. Where,
yeah, actually, I hope. I don't know. Maybe the UFC can convince Gaethje. Say Max Hall. Maybe they can convince Gaethje to rematch the winner of the BMF fight. Like, I think that's going to be best for Gaethje if they're going to put him into some sort of like main event title thing. But I don't want him to fight Topuria because the way that he got face planted by Holloway in the last 1 second of their fight, that's going to happen in the first 2.5 minutes.
I am inclined to agree with you. Pimblett versus the Max versus Oliveira winner. I might even say give him the Max versus Oliveira loser.
BSD is matched up against oh my god, why can't I think of his name? Dude, that spinning wheel kicked Bobby Green. Isn't he matched up against him? Or is that Fiziev? I think it's Fiziev actually coming up. Hoofy. I think it's Fiziev and Hoofy. He could fight the winner of that fight.
That sounds more. It's Benoit Saint-Denis versus Dan Hooker that's coming up in a couple weeks.
Okay, or
in 1 week.
Honestly, him and Dan Hooker have had a bunch of shit that they were talking this past week. Dan Hooker, they had him and Paddy had the whole thing. So I think regardless of the outcome, he could probably fight Dan Hooker next. And I think BSD would make sense.
Well, I mean, this is something you know that I will do sometimes when we're talking about matchmaking, where I'll matchmake someone that has a fight coming up, whether they win or lose that fight. Like Benoit Saint-Denis and Dan Hooker are fighting next Saturday. I'm fine with Hooker fighting Pimblett next, whether he beats Benoit Saint-Denis or loses to him. Like because here's the thing. The UFC does still have something it can sell in Paddy Pimblett. Like, he is still a magnetic personality. he lost something in terms of positioning in the division tonight, but I don't think he lost any fans. So,
No.
What the UFC needs is to get him a fight that is completely out of the title picture.
Yeah, he needs to. I mean, him and Moicano have a little bit of a history. Maybe that's winnable for him.
Pimblett versus Moicano. I said this in the Sherdog Slack during the fight tonight. That is guaranteed stupidity. There's going to be stupidity at the pressers. There's going to be stupidity on Embedded or whatever, like sizzle reel show. There's going to be stupidity in the cage. I'm here for it.
This was like, and I said this in the Sherdog Slack, and I want to ask you, like, can you or anyone in the chat, can any of you guys and you, Ben, recall a like more just sloppy, poorly, like just untechnical, terrible? This is
the
men's
UFC.
155.
The UFC brought back the 155-pound division in 2005 after it had not had a champ for almost 4 years. It had not had any fights at all for over a year. It brought it back in 2005. Brought it back with what was a Florian and Shirk.
Yeah,
including that fight, and up until tonight, this was the sloppiest, most reckless fight for any kind of belt in that division. Like it, and I'm not even saying that as a uniformly bad thing. It was an interim title fight. Like, yeah,
this fight
it was fun. Yeah,
honestly, it got to the point where like I'm gonna watch this again sometime, like just some random night when I'm up late, and I'm probably just gonna be like sitting up here in my office, just quietly chuckling, like watching the Paddy in the third round. I forget who it was that put it into the Sherdog Slack, and they're like K1 Paddy Pimblett, like as he's jabbing Justin up in the third round that he won, and I'm like, this is like, it was a good time. I cannot complain. This fight was a good time. It was silly. It was dumb. It was bad. Staph infection Justin Gaethje. Brother.
Yeah. High white blood cell count Justin Gaethje fighting off infection. He's the new legendary figure. Before that, in the co-main event, we had a potential men's bantamweight title eliminator between former champ Sean O'Malley and perennial fringe contender Song Yadong. First of all, I asked this before we even went live, but bring it out now. How did you score this co-main event? Because the actual official judges gave it to O'Malley by unanimous 29-28 scores. I didn't even bother to send in any of my scores to MMA Decisions until the co-main and the main, just because I wanted to be able to remember 6 months from now how I scored these fights. But it's almost dead split on MMA Decisions, with just, it looks like a bare majority giving the fight to O'Malley over Song. How did you score it? You were one of Sherdog's scorers tonight, Dev. So I should be able to see this right now. Yeah, you scored it for Song. Same as I did.
Sorry. This was like, how the kids use the term plot armor.
Yeah.
Like, boy, oh boy, this was Sean O'Malley, like squeezing his plot armor for what? The first round was close, but it's like it was written, like the way that the commentary, it's like they were trying to sell it to me that for sure Sean O'Malley won the first round.
That was so weird. And I didn't even catch on until like a minute into the second round, and where they were saying stuff like, oh yeah, Song made some adjustments. He's coming out hot now. Like, wait, did you guys think that O'Malley won the first round? I'm torn here, because on the one hand, on the preview, I picked O'Malley to win this. So even if I didn't agree with the decision, I'll take it because it makes me look better. But on the other hand, I'm like, if a Song wins, I think it's because he turns to his wrestling, and we just see the difference between the power and the volume. Like, I could see Song winning close rounds where he's getting outlanded almost 2-1, and all those things happen. He wrestled better than he basically has in his almost his entire UFC run. He definitely showed the power, as he arguably won this fight despite getting outlanded 2-1. So yeah, I'm torn. It goes both ways.
Song Yadong's biggest problem, I think, too, is it's just like he's just like never gotten better. He has been the same fighter forever. For someone as young as him with the team that he's at, like
Still just 28 years old. That's fucking bananas.
but he's been in the UFC for like 7 years and his game
No, he's
just
been here for like 9 years. He was 19 when he got to the
yeah,
UFC.
yeah. I thought
He was 19 when he got to
sorry.
the UFC, and he already had like 15 or 16 career fights because China, because those,
Yeah.
promotions
Yeah.
like WLF and Bullets Fly will just put 15-year-olds in the cage, which, I mean, they literally did. I think his pro debut was like at age 16. But
Jesus.
no, I'm with you. And the funny thing is, when he came to the UFC, he was an athlete and a bit of a physical specimen who was super raw in terms of skills. And he's only gotten more impressive physically. Like, he is a
Yeah.
jacked individual now, but technically he's not especially gotten better. And I know they made a point on the broadcast of talking about, Team Alpha Male being this great wrestling camp. Here's the thing. Team Alpha Male takes great wrestlers. They don't necessarily make great wrestlers. Like, Team Alpha Male is the small man's version of, say, like AKA, where you go there if you already know how to wrestle.
He should probably just dump all that and just like go to like Freddie Roach and just like learn to be very good at pocket boxing because he's got good cardio, good power, good hand speed, and he's durable as shit. Like, if he just went to like a good boxing coach, he'd probably be lighting dudes up.
And and the nice thing is, since Freddie Roach will gas you up harder than just about anybody. If you go if you're an MMA fighter and you go work with Freddie Roach for 6 months, he will say on camera that you could beat the boxing champ in your weight class. That's just what he does. He worked with.
Song's footwork like fell apart. Like, he was cutting the cage off really, really well and like landing good shots in the first and second, especially the second. But then in the third round, like, it just fell apart. He started getting tagged. He ate that Sean O'Malley knee. The knee was beautiful from Sean. I thought Sean was going to be able to walk Song onto a lot more shots. I think Sean was going to the teep a lot, to the gut, and I think he was doing that to try to get a reaction out of Song. Like, hey, if I hit this dude with a bullwhip enough times, he's gonna spaz out and try to blitz him with a combo, and then I can pick him off with something. And the second Song really started to go for it, you saw in the third round that Sean O'Malley did start to lace him up with a bunch of nice clean counters. Sean looked great in the third round of this fight, but I think it took him way too long to make those reads.
Fought like a guy that's used to having 5 rounds to work.
Yep. Because the way that the fight started going, he really started making his reads, and he really lit Song Yadong up a ton, and kind of, if there was 2 more rounds in this fight, I'm sure me, you, and everyone in the chat would probably have a good idea what the last 2 of the, 2 would look like.
Yeah. Ernie B kind of throwing out a point that we're talking circles around here. Yeah, it's a little bit of the same problem Petr Yan has had sporadically throughout his career, where he does a boxing style thing where he will take the first round to kind of get his reads. And hell, John Jones, who might be the greatest fighter of all time, is famous for doing that. It's fine if you have 5 rounds to work and you are good enough at getting those reads that it's worth it to your performance in the rest of the fight. But when you only have 3, you're taking your life in your own hands there competitively.
Petr Yan, also the champ of this division, had that problem for some time, and it plagued him for some time. That's why he went on that loss streak, and then he was able to turn it around. The champ at 125 had that problem for some time, and Josh Van was able to turn that around, and maybe Sean can do the same.
Show Only 63 says athletes very often plateau at ages younger than the normal peak for males. It's definitely true, and not to put too fine a point on this, but there is the outside possibility that Song Yadong is older than we think he is. But
don't they start at year 1?
They called him 0 at his pro debut. He's actually 39.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you remember, you're a Florida guy. You remember when Alexis Vila got in this huge legal issues, and it turned out that he was like 10 years older than we had thought for his whole fight career because Cuba. Yeah. He's
They
like the
do that
MMA, the MMA equivalent of like those little league baseball kids that are
I
like
was just
17
gonna
and
say that, dude.
they're plucking their pubes
Yeah.
so they can pass.
Yup. The Dominican baseball is like, yo, he's 6'3". Like, what?
Like, she's
He
got a
drives
voice like
car
Barry
to middle-
White. Yeah.
Yeah, he's driving a car to middle school. You're like, hold on. He drives his own car to like t-ball practice. You know, it's kind of one of those. No, I think like moving forward for these dudes. I shared the comment. I forgot who. Maybe it's I'm in report. I think Yadong versus Zahabi is like the fight to make, because it's the young dude that's like super athletic, that's kind of clearly plateaued with his physicality and his skills, versus like the old dude that's getting better somehow, some way, and like overachieving. Like I kind of want to see that.
And just the fact that it would be Ayman Zahabi kind of bringing the interest and the sauce and the excitement. Like he's become less and less Zahabi-ish as he goes along. What do you do with the winner? However he got there, Sean O'Malley's the guy that walks away with the W.
In his post fight, I used to not be a person that liked Sean O'Malley, but he seems to be a lot more humble than ever. So like I'm starting to like the current Sean O'Malley versus the old Sean O'Malley. Where in his post fight, he was like, I want to fight Petrion, but I know Merab is first, so go out there and beat Merab and let's get a fight. So that tells me that he's totally down to just chill and wait. That might not go well for him. But what he does have, to his advantage is the other dude in this division that could potentially get slid ahead of him, like Umar. Umar doesn't fight very often either.
Mm-mm.
So, if it was a dude that was really active, he may have a problem, but Sean O'Malley might just sit out and wait for a title fight with Petrion. I don't care if he does that.
No, neither do I. That's A-okay with me.
He won the fight. Like he won the fight, and Umar did not look awesome tonight.
No, he did not. Again, comes back to kind of what I threw out there. Obviously, there were 11 winners tonight. Most of them deserving. I meant to the 22 people that actually fought. I mean,
the way that the two men's bantamweights performed tonight, Merab was a huge winner tonight.
Yes, he was. Prior to that, it was rumored that there was going to be a fight between Waldo Cortez Acosta and Derek Lewis.
So the black thing that Paddy Pimblett threw up in the cage, that was actually Derek Lewis.
That was pretty here. Most of you watching this right now know that I'm a Houston guy. And you know that I am a shameless homer for Houston fighters. And honestly, like while I don't know Derek as well as I know like all the people that fell off this card, I like to see him do well. And yeah, I like to see him do well, win or lose. The guy is 29-13. It's never been about being unbeatable for him. It's just been about being appointment television. This was not appointment television. I mean, Lewis looked so checked out here. He looked so checked out that Rose Namayunas looked motivated by comparison.
This was like, I'm going to try to not be offensive. This was like a TKO via fat.
Yeah.
Like Derek Lewis just showed up like chubby, sloppy. You could tell like after he threw combinations and Waldo was just 6 feet out of range, you could see the grimace. Derek Lewis looked like the grimace from McDonald's. Like, remember all the stupid grimace commercials we were getting? That's what, like, this was so. He quit. He tripped and fell and quit. And he turtled.
Yeah,
Lewis quit. I watched him quit tonight.
And of literally everybody in the entire UFC, all 610 athletes or whatever there are right now, he is the one with the least legitimate reason to do that, because he's one of the very, very few people that literally just does need one punch. And he is pulled out the win over and over again in fights where he looked like absolute crap up until the moment that he got it done. In fights that were terrible until he got the win. But this was... he looked more beat here than he did in the Jailton Almeida fight, where he just got ragdolled for 25 minutes. So I don't know if he's nursing some kind of injury or he's just nursing being 40 years old. We've all heard, we all know the routine. Like Lewis saying that he's in the best shape of his career and his back is finally feeling better, and now he's got some peptides from the UFC. It's a running joke. But if this is the effort level we're getting going forward, maybe it is time to hang him up. This was just a bummer.
Yeah, this was really bad. And just by the way, for the chat, Grimace was a large purple milkshake.
Yeah.
So you're wrong. Waldo's jab just like ate him alive. The jab was great. And
Waldo has always had a good jab. When he got to the UFC, that was really all he had. That's like, I remember watching his regional tape and his Contender Series appearance. I'm like, well, okay, finally there's a 6'5" heavyweight with long arms that actually does lean on the jab. And I figured, okay, you're not going to beat Derek Lewis with only a jab, at least not all night. You're
watching this fight and watching Waldo Cortez win this fight. I had a funny thought that he's one of the most athletic heavyweights in the division, and I immediately started laughing.
Bobby Boucher, my very first article ever for Sherdog back in March of 2018. It's going to be 8 years here in a couple months. I talked about Zuluzinho, and I said that Zuluzinho's physique looked like he could wear Grimace's outfit like it was cut to fit for him. So we come full circle. It's all Grimace all night. But no, Lewis isn't even in his Zuluzinho phase. If what we saw tonight is Derek Lewis, he's in his Bob Sapp phase. He's in his Bob Sapp phase where you know, the first time he can plausibly do so, he's out. So yeah, it's.
Oh, I would pick Josh Hokett to beat the Derek Lewis that we saw tonight easily. After two takedowns, and Derek Lewis would be like, "I'm tired of this dude scrambling all over me."
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you, and yeah, it hurts. It hurts my heart to say that. Nonetheless, all Waldo or Cortez Acosta can do is punch the guy they put in front of him, and he did that tonight. What are you doing with WCA next?
Huge win for him name-wise, and like, who cares? Like, if you're Waldo Cortez Acosta, like, you've just smashed a crap ton of fights into a short amount of time. You've won a bunch of them by finish. The Sergey Pavlovich fight is getting further and further in the rear view.
And here's the thing. Derek Lewis might get home, look at his bank account, and come back and knock out 3 Brazilians in the first round between now and the end of the year. And all of a sudden, this win's going to age really well for Acosta. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
So
no, Derek Lewis is going to get another fight in the UFC, and it's going to be against an absolute scrub that the UFC is way too hype on, and he's going to knock them dead. For Waldo Cortez Acosta, I think he's got a good thing going. He seems to be pretty funny on social media. He continues to wear the eye patch and the pirate hat. I think he needs to just continue to do that. I think he needs to start talking a bunch of shit to Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gahn, and he needs to start talking shit to Alex. But he needs to talk shit to anyone that'll listen, and sit and wait and see if he can, get himself into a, he could be fighting Cyril Gahn for an interim title fight if they can't figure out finances with Alex Pereira.
Yep. I'm trying to find a way to contradict you on this, and I'm not finding it. Like, Josh Hokett called out Cortez Acosta after his win on the prelims, which we'll obviously talk about in a little while. Maybe if Cortez Acosta had lost, but otherwise, why would he bother? He's 10-2 in the UFC right now. Why would yeah.
I hate Josh Hokett, but he actually may be really good in this division too, which is something that we'll talk about in a little bit. But
before that, there was another rumored contenders matchup between Natalia Silva and Rose Namajunas, and it's extreme weather in a lot of the U.S. right now. It's extreme weather on Texas's Gulf Coast. I have had sleet and freezing rain blowing against the sides of my house all night, and it all just sounded like, oh, Valentina Shevchenko and Ilya Taporia laughing wherever they are.
it was me laughing, man.
Yeah, like Silva versus Namayunas, like I didn't come out of it feeling better about either of them.
No, this is another bad fight.
It was
like this was a bad fight.
It was bad. Yeah, and yeah, like it was technically not good, and it wasn't very entertaining. And whenever one woman did something well, it just seemed to be mostly down to the other, like coming up short somewhere. Silva just feels to me like the exact kind of fighter that Prime Rose Namajunas would have absolutely destroyed.
Silva, the second her athleticism and her speed when this girl hits 30 years old and her athleticism and speed starts to decline just a hair, she is going to get absolutely lit up by somebody, just because the way that she keeps her head, like during this 6-week break, I watched quite a bit of boxing. Like I watched like a ton of Lomachenko, and then I was watching like a bunch of like Soviet boxing drills on YouTube. Like I started geeking out. And just watching someone like Natalia Silva, like she's really, really fast. She relies on her hand speed. She relies on her speed to get in and out of the pocket and blitz. She has really good footwork. But I mean, it's like the Stefan Struve thing with her head, the Paddy Pimblett thing, like just really defensively porous. Yeah. She has no head movement. She keeps her head right up on it. She's never tucked her chin once. Rose, I think, was probably like the better fighter of the two. And I think
more skilled for sure. Yeah.
Like I think Rose could have won this fight. I mean, someone on social media was like commenting on a post how it was a robbery and they thought Rose won, and they were complaining about Natalia Silva, how she's so boring and she hasn't finished a fight and since 2023. And I wanted to comment, hey, Rose hasn't finished a fight since 2021.
Yeah,
it's been 5 years since Rose finished someone.
The flyweight Rose experience in general has just not been a good showing. I'm struggling to think what Namajunas' best win at 125 is.
Tracy Cortez.
I mean, Miranda Maverick might have been ranked higher at the time, but it's either Cortez or Maverick, and neither of those are wins that are really going to propel her into the title picture. So yeah, the 125 Rose, it's not gone well. And part of it is just, again, the things that have changed in her, because she looked, starting with and including the second Esparza fight back in 2022, she's just looked sporadically checked out mentally, but also the things that made her special at strawweight have not crossed over. At strawweight, she was a fast, fluid athlete. So you would assume that at 125, she would even have more of a speed advantage, but she doesn't seem to. And then at 115, despite looking kind of thin and willowy, she had massive power in her hands and her kicks. That has not followed her. And I'm struggling to think of another high-level fighter that moved up in weight and their power abandoned them worse than Rose Namajunas' power has abandoned her.
If you got stuck having like continuous pocket exchanges with Rose Namajunas and she was landing in them, even if you were landing her, 2-1 on 50% of the exchanges, like she was still doing damage. Like her second fight with Joanna Jędrzejczyk, or even like her first finish of Joanna, she did a lot of damage to people on the feet. with her hands, and like she did land decently on Silva tonight. I think Rose's biggest problem is she stopped punching with Silva. Like she had a lot of success when she planted and punched with her.
Yeah.
Silva can't throw a straight punch to save her life. Everything is looping.
It is, and that only exacerbates her existing problem, which is that she's kind of short and compact and has short arms.
Oh,
and just makes it worse by swinging everything like a panda bear.
did you see Natalia Silva on the weigh-ins, like weighing in? She looked like she didn't cut any weight. Like you compare her weigh-in, like coming up to the scale, super versus like Smotherman, poor guy. Like she's small for the When you said some of the Houston fighters fell off the card, I was like, yeah, one of them quite literally did.
Four fighters fell off the card. 3 of them were from Texas, and that doesn't even include. And that doesn't even include Derek Lewis, who apparently left something at the airport. Yeah.
Tough skids. Yeah, I don't. How old is Shevchenko now? 37, going on 38. Like,
yep.
And I still think there's like a Grand Canyon between her and the rest of the contend. Like, she's a champion right now where you could match her up against anyone in the top 10 of her division. And I'm just picking Shevchenko confidently with the utmost confidence.
What are you doing with Silva next? I mean, in the Sherdog ranking, she was already our number 2 women's flyweight. I think you tell. It's a shame that Dakota Dacheva just signed a $300 million year deal with PFL. But honestly, the way PFL is sort of starting to shed executives, but you try to bring her over, or you give Shevchenko a little incentive to move up to 135 and see if she can get any interest in a title fight there.
Shevchenko, this fight gives Shevchenko a lot of really good options, because she could say, well, do I just want to add another gem to my, like, they're going to just start paying her in bags full of diamonds because they're going to run out of gems to put on her freaking belt if she keeps this up. She can either go up a division and look to pick a title fight with, whoever up there, but she could also just kick back and just seems like a real easy check for Shevchenko for whoever they want to match her up next with. If it's Natalia Silva, Shevchenko should be a minus 450 favorite.
And probably would be, and rightly so.
I do have an idea for Rose, and I know we didn't talk about it, but I do think that at this point, like, I know Jasmine Jasudavicius just got knocked out, but like the next time the UFC is going to Canada, like, Rose doesn't seem long for this. Like, just do Rose Namayunas versus Jasmine Jasudavicius, like somewhere in Canada. Give someone like Jasudavicius a chance to make a name off someone like Rose, because the UFC loves Canadian fighters.
Yes, like the Canadian we're about to talk about, Arnold Allen. The main card opener. Dude. Main card opener, featherweight clash between John Silva and Arnold Allen. This was another frustrating one, because yes, John Silva won uncontroversially, won decisively. You singled him out as probably the fighter who had the best individual performance on the card. Like, and even considering that, I feel as though Allen could have done a lot more than he did. Like,
I think both of them potentially could have. Yeah, I think Allen's problem also too is like, I think Gene Silva probably hits real hard.
Yeah.
And has really good pressure. And when you're landing big crosses on dudes that would normally take the back foot, and they just kind of like tank it and continue to press and hit you with, equally big shots. Like, that's going to leave a lot of dudes flummoxed,
Yeah.
Arnold Allen has usually been the more bigger and physical dude. Like, his family is like weightlifters and shit. And I think this is like one of the first times in the UFC that he finally was matched with someone that, Silva looked smaller, but he looked stronger.
Yeah. Well,
like he was
he
chucking
looked
Allen
shorter,
around.
but like he's got a lot of muscle on his frame.
He is like a mini Yoel Romero. He's
Yeah.
like his body type and athleticism reminds me of like a Yoel Romero and Anderson Silva just put into a blender.
Paulo Costa too. Like that, yeah. That kind of just dude, like just built like shaped like a Pop-Tart, just like this rectangular dude who is tons of fast twitch muscle, hits like a ton of bricks, has some technical deficiencies. Like as good as Silva looked tonight, and Allen is a legit win, and it's one that may even end up aging well. But having said that, I didn't see much out of Silva that makes me like his chances any better against the rest of the top 5 guys in that division.
He jumped off of Arnold Allen's back. Come on, that was great, right?
Oh, that was fantastic.
Yeah. Someone from Sherdog turned that into him like on a surfboard. I was like,
yep.
Can someone do that, please? I actually think Silva is really good at what he does with the tools he has. He is a dude that is just unflappable. I don't think he will ever be flummoxed or upset in a fight at all. We watched him get 10-8'd by Diego Lopez and then like just turn around and jump right back in. His power is really good. His leg kicks were good. I think his spinning attacks can be pretty good, even though he may go to them a little bit too much. I thought his boxing looked good in this fight. And then it got in the third round, he kind of just like turned it into a mugging. But when you got, I mean, you say you don't like his chances against everyone in the division, but I mean, Volk is the champ.
Yeah.
Do you trust Volk to survive 5 rounds with Gene Silva and just not get dusted?
I'm not discounting his chances. I'm just saying I didn't see anything out of Silva tonight that makes me feel better about his chances against any of them.
I agree. My opinion on Silva's never changed, but I also feel like Silva could probably just like, I mean, he could probably also just already beat anyone in the top 5. Like who,
Well, I mean, on the right night, and if he doesn't start going off the rails mentally, again, he was doing great against Diego Lopez. Like he won the first round, he was probably winning the second, and then woof. I thought I was gonna have this like sneaky pick of Silva versus Aljamain Sterling, but like that's what I'm trying to see. Like I need to find something out. I need to see if he can pass that test. Even though the dudes in the top of the division probably aren't going to do that to him, but I want to see if he could pass that test. Like, what do you do with a crazy backpacking dude that's like a fucking amazing scrambler that will wrestle? That's a question. And obviously he's a different style of wrestler. He's a backpacker, as you mentioned. He's definitely a funk style wrestler, but it might give us a chance to see what he would look like against guys who can and will try to wrestle him, like Volk and Taporia, if it comes to it. So yeah, just punch him. I see just punch happen. He says Bobby Boucher.
Yair versus Silva would be fun too, but like Yair's never gonna fight him. I don't think Yair's. I don't know what's up with that dude.
No, me either. That's the 5-fight main card of UFC 324. Just before we jump into the prelims, obviously this is the start of a new era for the UFC. This was a numbered event that I didn't have to pay $80 for, that nobody had to pirate. We're on Paramount Plus, and I thought it was a mixed bag. Like, obviously we've been talking about the card in terms of its entertainment value, in terms of its competitive value, its divisional relevance, but on a strictly technical level, this is, 2 entities that are getting to know each other for the first time. I saw some things that I find very promising. Like right off the bat, just the fact that I was able to access the card on Paramount Plus with no problem. I never had any problems with lag or dropouts or poor, like anything like that. It in terms of my ability to just stream it without incident, it's already better than any card I saw on ESPN Plus in the last 3 years. So,
Yeah, like the only issues I had is when I was on a mobile device. Like I had to go use the restroom during the fights, and I was like, well, I'll just take my phone in there. But like, still no. I mean, Paramount seems like it's going to be better than ESPN Plus, as long as they get like all of the other stuff in order with like in the pre-fight. The prelims of this card were just an absolute drag. Like the amount of times they went to the desk where they're like showing like a promo package, but the desk is like still mic'd up, so you can like hear them chatting it up. Just there was so much filler.
Lots of filler, and that is a problem we're always going to have with cable or over the top streaming things, where they have a time block to fill. So,
and I know that's not a Paramount thing. Like that's going to be with any provider, but like on this card, it just kind of like.
But what you fill that time with matters.
And then when you're filling that time with like the consistent banner of Paramount, like you're selling me Paramount in between all this bullshit, it's not going to make me really love Paramount. I'm already here. Yeah.
Boz says Paramount seems invested in the UFC at least. I agree. And see, I have Paramount. I had Paramount Plus already anyway. So I can attest that they've been saturation bombing with announcements and ads for the UFC on Paramount. So that's definitely a thing. And just the fact that right off the bat, my very first card, I can select an option to have a 4-up split camera feed.
That's cool.
You know what? If the UFC had done that with ESPN, some of their pirating problem might have gone away. Like even people that might have streamed a card might be willing to pay for it if you had things like that you could control, but only could control it if you were watching it legitimately. Like just the product got cheaper and got better instantly tonight.
And I think ESPN was like in 710p or whatever, and I believe that Paramount streams like their sports stuff in 1080p, so like that's another thing. I like the face-offs on the like white Paramount like octagon, like it's like lit up, like they did like some face-offs on there. Gene Silva with the title, like doing his whole freak out thing, like, but that, like, he turned that into something funny, but like that also could have just been something cool. And someone in the chat here, just said that it seems like Paramount is putting a ton of money into the UFC, so much so that the whole entire pre-fight for this event, they like only talked about Paddy Pimblett and like didn't even mention Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, and they shot a whole separate thing where they got Chris Weidman and Michael Bisping in their actual like spats to show how Paddy Pimblett could win the fight.
Yeah, during the pre-fight.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that pissed me. Like Bisping is on Weidman in full mount, landing these mock elbows, and I'm like, first off, this would have never happened. And like they did a mock fight refereed by Dominic Cruz, and they're all like Venom fight kits to show you how Paddy Pimblett's gonna win this fight. Which makes it great that he got shit kicked. Like, I love that for us. You know what I mean? Like, it's comedic relief. We don't need Chris Weidman, Michael Bisping, and Dom Cruz all on a desk together.
No.
Like, we need some professional, commentary.
Yeah. The combinations of the UFC desk talent really do matter, because just to give one example, like DC gets a lot of crap, but when they pair Cormier with the right people, I think he's good. Like I like his enthusiasm. I like his native knowledge of things. Like I don't go to Daniel Cormier for like really good snappy recall of things that happened in the UFC 3 months ago. Things that he's great for are things that he's been doing since he was 12 years old, like wrestling fundamentals. You know, like I want to hear him as the wrestler, the fighter, the coach. Like so when they pair him with people where he can just do that, where it's not they're not pairing him with Rogan where they just kind of go off the rails and bring out the worst in each other. He can be good. So yeah, like that combination, not great.
And one thing about DC, like, and like a lot of people dunk on DC, and kind of rightfully so, but like at least he's happy to be there. Like you can tell, like he kind of wants to be there, like he has a good time doing this, unlike other, unlike other commentators. And Joe Rogan, his stand-up is not very good, but if like his commentary is becoming funnier than his stand-up.
Yeah,
which is like bad,
man. All right, Boxing God brings this up.
Yes,
Buffer getting the fighter.
yes.
In fairness, I think Buffer. It's entirely possible that Buffer had it right, and just there were so many camera snafus tonight that Buffer might have been reading the cards in the right order, and just the camera's on the wrong person. Because like
honestly,
Dev
you're
mentioned,
probably right, dude. You're probably right.
Yeah. So far be it for me to defend Buffer. I mean, you guys know that I'm done with him, but Boss brings up DC is great with Sanko or Cruz, especially Sanko. And
yes,
it may just be the thing, like,
they like each other.
I like being in a band with at least one girl because there's just a lot less farting in the rehearsal room. It's that kind of thing. I think he just literally sits up straighter in his chair when Sanko's at the desk. And then on top of that, not just because she's a woman, but also because Sanko is compulsively well prepared.
Yeah. Have you seen that clip? I was kind of going around during the break. The UFC was doing some their weigh-in show crap. You disappeared. We lost you, Ben. Are you still here?
I'm here. What's I'm not sure what happened there. Sorry.
The UFC kind of did some weigh-in show, and did you see that clip of like Sanko in the heels where she like throws that uppercut to DC's body and then like circles out like in the heels? Like that was dope.
Yeah.
It's like she wrecked him with a body shot, so you could tell they're kind of homies. You can tell they're pretty close. And I don't think DC's so bad. I Dominic Cruz and Michael Bisping should not work anything together.
No.
Like at all. And I would not be surprised in like the next 2 years something comes out where like Bisping gets arrested for like violently assaulting Dominic Cruz in like a UFC post fight, just he's like, I had enough of your shit, little dude, and he like jams him up into a trash can because boy oh boy was Dominic Cruz like going at Bisping all night.
It's like, and the GoFundMe for Michael Bisping's bail has now hit 350% of its target.
Yeah.
like not only is he bailed out, but he's getting picked up by a limo at the jail.
Jesus. And Dominic's like becoming intolerable on the desk too, because it's like he just can't. It's like the dude's got fire ants in his pants 24/7. Like he just can't have a good time.
No, he's
like,
the saltiest man in MMA. Yeah.
Oh my God. It's tough. And then Weidman, he's a nice guy, but I also don't feel like I'm here saying a bunch of negative stuff. I feel bad. I don't think Weidman is great on that desk either. Like Poirier and Chiesa, in my opinion, do a much better job.
Yeah,
in that position on the desk.
Yep. The times they brought in Alan Jouban, he's been good there.
There
are a lot. If they want the former fighter in the seat, yeah.
Or Rashad. Rashad was really good there, man. Got Dean Thomas rolling around. Shove Dean in there. Dean does a good job too.
He does. Yeah. So I'm cautiously optimistic about the Paramount experience. It feels like the things that were bad from a technical standpoint tonight are early wrinkles, but the basic idea of the product is really good. Uh, let's kind of run down these prelims in accelerated fashion, maybe with the exception of this one, because super relevant, arguably as much so as the main card men's bantamweight fight. Umar Nurmagomedov and Davison Figueiredo in the top prelim. Right off the bat, we had problems because Figueiredo missed weight. Just looking at those two standing across from each other, I mean, like, which of these two guys came in over the limit for this fight? As Nurmagomedov just looks 15 pounds heavier, is wild. But Figueiredo looked like he didn't know what he wanted to do in the cage.
Was it like at the end of the second round when he like started to just like punch with Umar and he realized that like he could like defend his grappling? Was he like having success? Like, I think Figgy could have just done stuff if he just like went for it harder, because Umar did not have a ton of success with his wrestling, like, at all. And Figgy was just like memorized by that like front kick that Umar does very well. For a 17-1 favorite, I'm like not even super hype on Umar. Like, I don't think he looked awesome. For a dude that has Khabib Nurmagomedov and Islam Makhachev in his corner, and he's a minus 1650 favorite, like, you should ball this dude up and throw him into a dumpster.
Yeah, and did not do so. And he had the chance to kind of take his destiny into his own hands tonight. He could have made a statement in this fight.
100%.
That could have even propelled. He could have made the UFC look silly for putting O'Malley in the co-main event. Like,
yep.
But no, he really didn't. He held his place in line, but he didn't especially help it. The same question I'm going to ask about the guy that fought right before him, Ateba Gauthier, who took on Andre Pulyaev. He was a 10-1 favorite. He had blown all of his UFC opponents. Granted, 3 of the worst middleweights in the division, but blown his first 3 opponents out in easy, quick fashion. What did you think of his performance tonight?
Ateba?
Yeah.
It's kind of bad because we've been away from fights for so long, but I feel like a lot of winners on tonight's cards. Like, I was just like, you won that fight, but even for Umar, like, you could convince me that there's a couple more bantamweights in that division that are better than Umar. Like, you could convince me that even though he beat Corey Sandhagen, like, I don't know. And kind of same thing for Gauthier. Like, it's an argument that he lost this fight. He's got a big 1-2 and he's willing to push forward and eat shots. But like, who's the worst middleweight in the division? Because like, that's who he needs to fight next if they want to continue to boost him up the way they're doing. But like, don't put him in there with someone like Hobocop.
No.
Find Bruno Silva.
Ooh, Ninja Kitty bringing up the Sokoju reference. Okay, like, if Gauthier never gets better than this and everyone figures him out in 2 more fights, then yeah, he's become Sokoju. Because, obviously Sokoju in the closing days of Pride showed up, beat 2 guys as like a plus 1,000 underdog, like beat 2 top 5 light heavyweights, and then just never got better at all. But Gauthier, it's easy to make the Cameroonian knockout artist comparison, but Francis Ngannou did not look uniformly great his first few fights.
He looked terrible, but he was a heavyweight.
Yeah, he was a heavyweight, and he eventually found their chins. I have the feeling that Gauthier is going to be just fine. Like, this definitely gave me pause.
Well, look at the fights he's getting from the UFC. If this is what they keep doing for him, he's going to be completely fine.
Yeah.
The problem is they're selling him to us the same way they sell us Joe Pyfer.
Yeah.
And I think Joe Pyfer would probably knock him dead in a fight if they got matched up tomorrow. And I don't think Joe Pyfer is that great.
Yeah, I'm taking the I'm taking the under in that one for sure.
Yeah, I'm not basing it off of his age for Ateba either. I'm just basing it like, okay, how good is he compared to how good the UFC wants me to think he is?
Yeah.
And if that's my scoring criteria, then it's the same thing as them trying to tell us that Raul Rosas is really, really good.
Yeah, and
the same.
He is good, but he's not as good as they want us to think. Fight on the night that I would not have picked to be the first one on the entire card to go the distance, or almost the distance. Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas. You said something in the Sherdog editorial Slack during the card that I wanted to bring up, because you are definitely a better technical analyst, especially of striking, than I am. But you mentioned a couple times Bukauskas' style on the feet is based on being the slicker guy, and he's not slick. I would have disagreed with you strenuously before tonight, but you're right. Like,
it's because he's that light heavyweight dude, but like, he just thinks he's got the slickest like check hook in the game, and it's just non-existent. All of those opponents just see it's kind of like he throws his check hook too, like the Marge Simpson meme. Like he'll like cock back and just wind it way up, and you're like, brother, this is getting read like a book,
Yeah.
And Krylov like showed up to this fight looking like he escaped prison. Like he looks so disheveled, like just facially, like he looks so like.
I feel like on every preview, I say this, like, fighter A is the oldest 33-year-old in the UFC. I didn't even mention Krylov, but yeah, he looked like he turned into his own dad within the last 2 years.
Like, did he just take up coal mining as a pastime?
Well, I mean, his nickname is the Miner. Yeah, now that he's not the Fighting Al Capone anymore.
He literally does. Like, you ever see those videos of like the dudes from 150 years ago that are just like 19 years old working in the coal mine?
Yeah,
like that's what Krylov looks like. But hell no, he won. Great for him. He remained very composed this whole fight. Like, his boxing looked good. I thought, like a lot of people, probably that poor Bukauskas was just like watching the Dominic Reyes fight with Krylov on repeat, and he's like, I can do that. And it's like, nah, bro, you can't. He tried to just be like, he tries to be so slick, and it's just like, yeah. And the finish was great by Krylov, especially like that final ground and pound shot that kind of caused Bukauskas to go a little limp.
It was nasty.
And I mean, the way that fight ended was the fastest. Nikita Krylov went from not making an extra $25,000 to making an extra $25,000 in about 3 seconds. So bless him, dude. Like, good for him.
Thank you. That reminds me. We talked about this between the main and the prelim card, but the UFC just going to a finish bonus,
dude,
I absolutely love it. One, it probably means fighters will make more money on the average. I love that. Two, it takes it takes the subjectivity out of it. It's not who happened to get the best finish when Dana was looking up from his phone. It's just, did you get the finish? And three, because nobody hates $25,000, but it means a lot more to a guy that's making 12 and 12 than to a guy that's making 300,000 and 300,000. It incentivizes the newer fighters and the lower level fighters even more to put themselves out there, which leads to more interesting prelims. I love it all around. Um,
And the bonuses are $100,000 now,
yeah,
which is another big thing. So I mean, there's no matter what anyone would argue, like an incentive makes you work harder. Every
Yes.
person here in this chat, including you and I, are employed. And if we had if our bosses came to us and said, hey, here's an extra monetary benefit, you need to meet these criterias to get this money, like, you and I and everyone here are probably gonna, work a little bit harder to make that incentive. Like, it's a thing.
Yep.
It totally makes sense.
Yeah. Like if for example, they told me that I would lose a quarter of my paycheck if I did not make weight for my podcasts, I would make weight. With that, let's talk about Alex Perez and Charles Johnson.
Dude.
The good news is Alex Perez looked fantastic. The bad news is he was halfway to bantamweight.
Oh, yeah. That's the, this is like what Alex Perez, number one, like, I don't say this about many fighters, but like, poor dude seems to be the most, like, he has just been plagued by a dark shadow, a freaking cloud hanging over this dude's head. Like, the way he loses fights, the way that fights fall apart, like, I love Charles Johnson. I'm sure most of us here do, because he's really, really fun. But if he had to be the victim, for Alex Perez to, like, finally get some sort of victory, like, in a way that we kind of always thought he should have looked in the UFC, sucks that it was Charles Johnson. Like, he looked really good. His left hook could not fucking miss. He had Charles Johnson rocked for like 2.5 minutes straight. And that doesn't happen to Charles Johnson, dude.
No, it doesn't.
He's usually durable. He's usually got good boxing.
No, Charles Johnson got bad things done to him for like 11 minutes by Josh Van, and then popped him. Like, but no, Perez hammered Johnson and then just sort of stayed on him. Didn't give him a chance to recover, even though the ref did a fantastic job that fight. So
yeah. And Bass asked, if you redid Alex Perez's career 10 times, would this be the worst for, like, what we probably?
This is Crisis on Infinite Alex Perez's. We're just talking about which timeline is like the worst Alex Perez timeline.
Honestly, probably this one, because he just seems so unlucky. Like the Asal Mabayev outcome, his fight with Figgy.
Okay, so on the earth that I live in, you're not going to believe who the president is, but also Alex Perez fought really well for the first time in like 4 years, but he blew weight first. Yeah, like,
and that's the part that's like, it's like, oh, here's a popsicle. Oh, it's frozen piss. Great. Like, you miss, like, you did all this, and then I'm not willing to give fighters that miss weight slack, but like 125 is definitely the hardest weight class to make.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah. So, and since he got the finish, do we know if, since now there's an incentive bonus of $25,000 if you finish your fight, does weight miss have anything to do with that? I know those are the normal bonuses.
I hope so, honestly. Like, again, as impressive as Perez's finish was, it feels hanky to me to reward them for doing something with the aid of, acting unprofessionally.
Because I would also give people the incentive to just continue to miss weight.
Okay, Ninja Kitty says they confirm the weight misses do not get a bonus.
Okay, good,
I think that's appropriate. Antoine Willis, as soon as Charles Johnson walked out with, he usually has like the brother mullet, but like he had the brother braided side Last of the Mohicans thing. I just thought back to like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park saying, we spent so much time wondering whether we could do it that we never stopped asking ourselves whether we should. I feel that way about every time Charles Johnson does something to his hair.
Oh no, it's getting.
I love watching him fight, but boy howdy, he gets some interesting ideas.
Every fight, like his barber just takes the straight razor and just like goes like a 1/4 inch back on the hairline, and it's like, he should have dyed the fur patch in the back green. I love when he had that when he debuted in the UFC against Makayev. He had the green. That green gave him some power.
His Hulk mullet, his Hulk frolet. Yeah,
it's like, it's just like you have more hair on the back of your head than the top.
Before Perez versus Johnson, a guy that did not come in overweight but came in substantially underweight, the smallest heavyweight in the UFC, Josh Hokett, remains undefeated, 8-0, 2-0 in the UFC. Absolutely embarrassed Denzel Freeman, like to the point of like just spanked him on his butt, just literally spanked him.
Josh Hokett, and I hate that I'm gonna say this, but like he's actually good. Like he's gonna give a lot of dudes problems in this division with like his ability to like not lose his composure. He is willing to, as a heavyweight that weighs 240 pounds with like a 72-inch reach, that's 6'1". Yeah. He is not scared to get into the pocket and like use his hand speed and like lace you up with uppercuts. He will chain wrestle. He is like kind of like a souped up Colby Covington at heavyweight. What he really reminds me of.
Ooh, what I like that comparison a lot.
The only difference is like he's actually like Hokett is fun to watch, and I really wish he would realize that he didn't have to do the stupid stuff on them. You do the stupid stuff on the mic when your fights are shitty. When you have good performances and your fights are fun, you don't have to do the shitty thing on the mic. Like
it's gonna work. Like,
of course.
And
the UFC brings Donald Trump out to the octagon during events. This is gonna hit.
And for what it's worth, when it comes to stuff like this, all I really care about is it funny or is it not? Like, I'm not going to get like politically offended by these things because it's his job to cut a promo. It's his job to stand out from 610 other fighters. It's just, is it funny or isn't it? And it's awkward. Like all of his lines are like borrowed, like stolen from other people, and he doesn't deliver them that well. And if he wanted to insult a woman athlete for being like butch and masculine presenting, why go Brittany Griner? There are many women in your own sport, in your own organization, that would be very appropriate to make your inappropriate comments about. Like, why?
If he's gonna
like
make
that's not even what's weird about Brittany Griner.
Yeah. Make fun of her because
the weird is that she got sent to a fucking gulag for bringing a vape on a plane.
Yeah, like make fun of her for trying to get a weed cartridge into Russia. Like that's way funnier and dumber.
Speaking of,
yeah. Best says the promo was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, Ninja Kitty. It reminds me of Ben Rothwell doing the weird laugh thing. I prefer the weird laugh thing. You know,
it's so good.
He knows what he's doing. He knows it's really, really bad. You know, but at the same time, I'm not going to be. I mean, he's selling his soul to the devil, but you got to do what you got to do, man.
Yes. Yep. And you know what? As long as he keeps earning his mic time by just blowing people out, I'm here for what he has to say. Yeah.
His fights are good. Like, this is good shit.
Yes.
Like, this is what we want to see. He should have called out Walter Walker. That would be funny and hilarious.
Oh, my goodness. So, Walter Walker by first round heel hook, right?
Dude, how funny would Walter Walker versus Josh Hokett be? Like, the pre-fight?
It would be insane.
Just do it as, like, the curtain jerker on any, like, the next, like, shitty UFC pay-per-view, you know, like a you know how they do some, like, not the tentpole pay-per-views, but, like, one of the, you know, kind of crappy.
Can't call them that anymore, man. Yeah, there are no more pay-per-views.
Sorry, the numbered
events.
You know,
what the hell is it? The pro wrestling, like the WWE calls. Anyway, let's talk about this first fight and then like try and get out of here. First fight of the night: Adam Fugit versus Ty Miller. Miller, as advertised. I mean, kind of like Hokett. He's a guy that's undefeated, has a little bit of sizzle, but very, very green. At least Miller's hands are the real deal. Like fast, heavy, straight punches. He's a good boxer, man.
He's a good boxer, and Adam Fujit is also like a bad defensive striker where I mean, at this stage of the game, if you're fighting in the UFC and you throw things at people, you need to assume they will counter back and they will punch with you or throw back. And that's like, he just gets hit so much on the counter. Anytime, like, Miller was landing like crazy. Anytime Fujit would throw, Miller would just absorb the shot and then throw right back and just crush him. Like, crushed him with so many counters tonight. Fujit did land that like nice spinning elbow, and it was really cool to see Miller like not be discouraged by that. Yeah, like Boxing Dog says.
Yeah, took it like a champ in that not only did he, roll with it enough that he didn't get hurt that badly, but it didn't derail him from. Yeah. No, he was and he was right. He was back to running his own offense like 1 second later, which is what you want to see out of a guy with 6 pro fights. And for what it's worth, Fujit is the best guy he's fought so far. So
yeah. I'm like watching him versus like a Teba. I'm a little bit more like he kind of reminds me of like a Tim Means potentially.
I mean, he is a slicker striker and a better athlete than even young Tim Means, but in terms of the general body type and the kind of fight he'll need to win, if he wants to make his way up the ranks, I don't hate the comparison. That is it. That is all 11 fights from UFC 324, return of the UFC, first fight of the Paramount Plus era. I have been Ben. He has been Dev. We normally have a little bit of a kind of award thing, that we do at the end of these, but we're already an hour and a half into this one. Dev is the lone man of the house with his dog, and I have got to go check the wraps on my outdoor pipes as like it's just getting colder and colder here. So let's give a letter grade to the card before we get out of here. And if you're in the chat, give us your letter grade for UFC 324.
I said a lot of like negative crap, but like I do think that there was a lot of things that needed to be said. But all in all, like I had a good time. The Paddy versus Justin fight was just such a whirling dervish of just like violent, funny stuff. So like I'm gonna give it a B.
We got a couple of B's in the chat as well. I'm a report, Boxing God, both giving it a B. Antoine, A-. The prelims were amazing. I mean, 3 straight brutal finishes to open the card. I don't hate that. I'm gonna go B as well, and it's you guys that are kind of pulling me out of B- territory, because I'm also like, there were 1 or 2 really bad fights on this card and a couple of individually terrible performances. But yeah, there was some good entertainment, learned a few things. And again, I'm excited on the technical front for what it looks like the average viewing experience is going to be going forward. So that's a good feeling as well. I'll give it a B. Thank you guys so much. Keith should be back for the preview for UFC 325, which takes place down in Australia next weekend. It's a pretty loaded card as well, so look out for that to go up Sunday night, Monday morning. Dev, thank you very much for joining me tonight. Always a blast to have you on here. If you are just meeting Dev for the first time, check out his podcast, which is Check the Kick, which comes out usually Tuesday nights on Sherdog.com. He does a little bit of looking back at the fights that were, looking forward at the fights that are going to be, and talking about whatever the kind of top trending pieces of news are in the sport, what's hot. Maybe I'm going to task you, Dev, with talking about the betting weirdness on this one, because I wanted to get to it.
Yes.
So check out Check the Kick on Tuesday for a little talk about what bullet we might have dodged tonight, or what bullet we might have stepped into. Say goodnight to the people. Dev,
thank you guys all for tuning in. If you're in a place where you're going to get hit, I live in a place where it's always cold in the winter, so I'm kind of used to it. But there are some places that are going to get quite the snowstorm / ice storm / winter storm. So be safe. Yep.
Yep.
If you can avoid driving around, try to avoid it. Stay warm.
Hey,
Bring your
shout
pets
out to my
inside.
son Mike, who lives in northern Utah and is like probably rolling his eyes at me right now for being complaining that it's like 20 degrees out. But all right, good night, guys.
Thanks, everyone.